This thing right here caused FSD to fail in our Cybertruck. There were no notifications, nothing unusual. I just couldn't enable FSD, and this here was the cause. This is somewhat a weird story because something didn't work anymore back in December. At least that's about when we noticed it. And I made a service appointment for the mobile technician to come out and probably replace that part. And about 5 days before the mobile technician finally came out, I lost FSD. And I had no clue why. On the screen, everything showed normal. It was not like that I had 5 strikes or something and Tesla disabled it. There was no indication, no notifications, nothing at all that would have indicated why I could not enable it. The little rectangle with that says supervised full self-driving or supervised FSD, whatever it says on the screen, popped up. But when I tapped it, nothing happens. When I pressed the scroll wheel, the blue steering wheel on the screen popped up and the car was beeping at me, but it would not enable FSD. And I didn't know why. Well, it turns out this thing here. Well, what is this thing? Well, let me turn this around right here. Now you probably recognize this thing. All right. There, that's what it is. It is the driver's side taillight. And this actually caused the FSD to go out. And this is what I made a service appointment for. So back in early December, maybe even November, I don't remember. I noticed when my wife or daughter was driving, they drove away from the house and I looked at the back of the Cybertruck and this light wasn't on, the driver's side tail light. I was like, oh, okay, we gotta take a look at this. But then I forgot about it again. A couple weeks later or so, I seen it again and actually took a picture of it. And that was the picture that I wanted to use to send to Tesla in the Tesla app. So I went in the Tesla app, made a service appointment, or was at least trying to, but it wanted me to go to the service center. And it's like, whatever, I don't want to go to the service center. Maybe I see if I can get a hold of the mobile technician directly. So I canceled that whole spiel and then forgot about it again. And time went on, and my daughter at some point came home a couple weeks later or so with the Cybertruck, and she said, hey, your turn signal is flashing fast. I think it's not working in the back. And I was like, what? Because the indicator light, even with the tail light out, was always flashing at the correct speed. So what I noticed later is if you look on the screen where you can see the truck or the car, right? You see all the lights. There, the driver's side turn signal was flashing fast, but the green indicator light that is actually supposed to flash fast didn't. It was flashing totally normal. But yeah, on the truck itself, it was flashing fast. That was kind of weird. So anyway, at that point, full self-driving was still working, and we're talking here January now. So about 2 months in, probably 6 weeks or so, definitely driving with a tail light that is not functioning. And FSD always worked. So anyway, got a hold of the mobile technician, and he ordered a tail light, and he made an appointment for mid-February. That was like 4 weeks out at the time or something. So we did that about mid-January. About mid-February, he had time to come out. They're coming out this way anyway, about every 4 weeks. So he put me on the schedule for that. And it's like, okay, everything was fine except for the tail light not working, right? The turn signal didn't work. The light itself didn't work. The brake light in there didn't work. Nothing worked on the left side. Plugging in the trailer, everything worked, right? Everything was normal. FSD functioned totally normal. There was no issue whatsoever. And, well, I don't drive the truck very often. We really only drive the truck when we need it, because that's what we did before when we had the diesel truck, right? There's no sense in just driving the truck for fun, even though it's a lot of fun. I didn't drive the truck for a few days, don't remember. And then one day I got in it again about 5 days before the appointment for the service to replace the taillight. So I got in the truck and I drove, and I think last time when I drove I had the trailer, so I stopped real quick because I had to switch it to FSD. When you tow a trailer, FSD is disabled, and you don't even get adaptive cruise control unless you go into the autopilot menu and disable FSD. Then you get the adaptive cruise control with the trailer. So that's what I had last, probably because there was no FSD. So I stopped, I put it in FSD, drove on, and it wouldn't work. I'm like, what the heck? But it popped up on the screen, everything showed normal. There was some sun shining into the cameras, and the cameras were a bit dirty. So I stopped somewhere, cleaned all the cameras, all of them, all the way around. And, well, it still didn't work. I drove about 60 miles that day, never got it to work, couldn't figure out why it wouldn't. I had to drive the truck again the next day, disabled and enabled FSD in the menu, and drove another about 60 miles or so. And again, I could not enable FSD. Then the following day, I had to tow the trailer, and I hooked up the trailer, so I disabled FSD so that I would have adaptive cruise control at least, right? And I hooked up the trailer, and with the trailer, everything was fine. All the lights on the trailer worked, except my tail light on the Cybertruck wouldn't work. But everything was normal. Come back home, unhook the trailer, and had to drive the truck again without the trailer, enabled FSD. Nope. Well, I turned it on in the autopilot menu, but I could not enable it. It would not work. Well, whatever. Parked the truck. It was only like, a day or two for service technician to show up anyway. So I thought maybe I'll ask him when he's here. And he shows up with a new tail light. And so while he's changing the tail light, I mentioned that to him. And he says, maybe the tail light is causing it. I'm going like, well, I've been going for months without this tail light. I don't think this would be the cause. And he said, well, let's see after we change the tail light. And guess what? This freaking tail light. And I don't know if you can hear this. I don't know if you heard that. But I probably could put fish in here. It's like full of water. You can't see that. There's no way to see that on these tail lights, right? On a Model 3, Model Y, or Model S you would see. But this is just all blacked out. So you can't see anything in here. But this sucker is full of water. And for some reason, I was going for weeks on end, at least. Well, like I said, I think it started in November and mid-February finally. So it's about 3.5 months or so I went with this tail light. Never had an issue with FSD, and 5 days before the service appointment, FSD went out. No notifications, nothing. There was nothing, not a single indication that this tail light would have anything to do with FSD. It looked all normal on the screen. So, in case your FSD don't work, maybe your tail lights are bad. So, check that out. Like I said, this was totally weird. And if this would have went out and FSD would have went out at the same time, then it's like, okay, tail light, FSD, cool, that's the problem, right? But this went out weeks before FSD finally went out. So yeah, weird story here. But so if you have a Cybertruck, maybe even if you have a Model Y, Model 3, Model S, Model X, who knows, your tail light could affect your full self-driving function. So just, in case it happens, check that out. I just wanted to tell you the story because this is really weird. Usually there is a notification, but for some reason there was not even a notification for the tail light being out or the indicator light flashing faster. That's how it's supposed to be, but for some reason it didn't. So yeah, whatever it is, right? Well, give us a thumbs up for this video. Go watch our other videos. Give us a thumbs up for all these other videos as well. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. In any event, thank you for watching. Goodbye.